Welcome back to a new episode of Let's Talk About Star Wars with Maggie Lovett. Today's episode is going to be a little bit less structured than past episodes because I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I am going to very briefly talk about spoilers from The Mandalorian, so if you haven't seen Chapter 12 yet, come back and watch this after you've seen the episode. It's not going to be like a crazy amount of spoilers. I just want to talk about a couple of things because I think it's interesting, and I've been on 4 live streams this week and it's been so much fun to hear everybody's different theories about things. But before we get into that and into the main topic for today, I did have a few questions from Twitter that I wanted to talk about right out of the gate. So Peter from Around the Galaxy asked, do you think we'll see Boba, Bo, neither, or both again this season? I think we're going to see Bo-Katan this season. I also have a feeling that we're probably going to see Koska Reeves as well. I just have this feeling. We'll see if I'm right or not. As far as Boba, I don't know. I am always happy to see Tamora Morrison again. I think it would be weird not to have him show up again, considering he was only in it for 5 seconds at the end of the first episode. But I also think there is the potential that his appearance was just to set up something for season 3, simply because where we are, 4 episodes into this plot, it doesn't feel like we're going to be getting a plot line that would fit in with Boba Fett unless he's working for the Empire and he I don't know. There's so many things that is possible for his storyline, but the overarching season 2 plot that we're starting to see unfurled doesn't really seem to match Boba Fett. But I will be happy to be proven wrong. But that's kind of my theory I'm working with right now. Alan C. asked, I definitely was not allowed to eat during class in grade school. So what food would you sneak into class? Cans of soda at my school were banned. So there's always this one kid that tried to smuggle them in. So I love that scene in this week's episode of Mandalorian. I was homeschooled, so I could eat whenever I wanted to eat. So hypothetically, if I was in school and sneaking food in to eat during class, it would probably be Ritz Bits cheese crackers, the little mini Ritz Bits with the cheese in the middle. Love those as a kid, and I love those as an adult. I would also share with the child because, as you all know, I cannot say no to the face of the child. So if he was asking for a cookie, I would give it to him happily. If you give the child a cookie, just like if you give a mouse a cookie. Alberto from Radio Rebellion asked what my favorite friendship is in Star Wars. Anakin and Obi-Wan, I grew up with the prequels, so they are really my ideal of a Star Wars friendship. I also like Han and Luke in the expanded universe, but as far as canon, I really like Anakin and Obi-Wan, and I also really like what the Clone Wars did to really solidify that friendship between them. So that's really what I would consider my ideal friendship in the galaxy of Star Wars. Sorry about that. I just needed to quench my thirst. And Star Wars fans are quite thirsty this week because, spoiler alert, we saw the first of Djarin. I can barely say that with a straight face. This week's episode of The Mandalorian gave us the first look at Djarin taking his helmet off just a little bit around the child. Most of us believe that this was the first time this happened because the child gasped and looked quite shocked. And I personally love this moment. If you listened to any of the live streams I was on last week, I talked a lot about how I was really hoping that we would see this evolution in Din, to realizing and grappling with the reality of what Bo-Katan told him last week about the Mandalorians that he was raised with and the fact that they were essentially religious zealots. And I think that could make for a really interesting storyline, and I hope that The Mandalorian goes there with that realization that you've been indoctrinated, essentially. So I think my heart stopped when I saw him lift his helmet up just enough to sip on the broth, and just the child's reaction was everything. I also have been absolutely dying over how fandom has essentially dissolved into a bunch of Victorian maidens losing their minds over seeing an ankle for the first time. And then there's also the fact that there is a great debate over whether or not the chin that we saw was Pedro Pascal's chin or Brendan Wayne's chin. I'm going to try to put the picture here, the questionable chin. So what do you think? Do you think it's Pedro? Do you think it's Brendan? I am kind of leaning towards the potential of it being Brendan, but maybe we'll find out in a gallery episode or somehow, or we'll just have to live never knowing which chin everyone is thirsting over. Like I said at the top of the episode, I don't have a lot to talk about today, unfortunately. But I do have one kind of big thing to discuss, which is the Art of the Mandalorian book by Phil Szostack. This book is incredible, and I am so thankful to Abrams Books for sending this to me. I have never actually owned a Art of book before because they were always a little bit out of my price range for Star Wars books, and nobody ever turned them in at the used bookstore that I frequented in my youth. So finally having one of these books is just like so incredible, and this book is by far the best Star Wars book I've been sent this year. I am a sucker for the art of making films, and this book is just full of so many fantastic sketches and illustrations. Some of the early costume designs for The Mandalorian, some of the early costume designs for background Mandalorians for when he's at the covert. And then there's also some absolutely terrifying early renderings of the child, including one where he has a top knot. And I will never be the same again because of that one illustration. But truly, if you love seeing the making of a television series, you are going to want to pick up this book, put it on your Christmas list. It comes out in the first week of December, so you have plenty of time to get it. You will not be sorry. There's just so many details and so many behind the scenes kind of like little nuggets to really latch onto. And I mean, just the level of detail in this art is just, you could be looking at screen caps from the episodes. There's one at the end of the book that I was just truly like, wait, is this an actual picture? Is this an actual drawing? Lucasfilm truly has some incredible artists on staff, and what they are doing with this show is just out of this world. This was the moment that I was like, is this a picture? Is this a sketch? No, this is a drawing. This is an illustration. So if you have the ability to pick this up, I'm going to be doing a full review on the book later this week on Your Money Geeks, so be on the lookout for that. I will probably link it in this video later in the week once that's up. But this is just tremendous, and just I cannot say thank you enough to Abrams Books for sending this to me. I am in love. I have also been tremendously good. I have not been buying anything this week that I know of. I do have a bad habit of waking up at like 2 a.m. and I made the mistake of putting my fingerprint into my phone so I can buy things without having to put my credit card information in. So that was a mistake. But I do want to talk about two of my little Christmas ornaments that I picked up before I started doing Let's Talk About Star Wars. So you haven't seen them yet, as far as I know. I don't think you've seen them. But I picked up these two ornaments, the child in his pram and then the Mandalorian. I've never really been one for Hallmark ornaments. I have friends who are obsessed with Star Wars Hallmark ornaments, but I'm not one of them. And I couldn't resist. I mean, again, I can't resist the child. I had these on pre-order from GameStop and they came in really fast. I think there are still some available online. I also know that Target has a variation of this. So if you're looking for something to go on your Christmas tree or just something to add to your collection if you don't celebrate Christmas, I would highly recommend picking these up. I have 2 Porg ornaments, and then these are my only I have C-3PO as well. So I have 4 Star Wars Christmas ornaments now, but these 2 I think I'm going to keep in the box, just because they look better on display and I want them on my bookcase. But they're really nice, and I think they were only like $5. They really weren't expensive at all. So if you're looking for something maybe to be a stocking stuffer, I would highly recommend these 2 toys. Like I said at the top of the episode, I didn't have a lot to talk about today. I would love to really dive into some of my theories for The Mandalorian, but I don't want to be that person who spoils things for people, especially if people have this set up on their autoplays. I don't want it to accidentally spoil something, because I know some people really don't like listening to theories. But if you listen to some of my live streams that I'm on, you know that I am really excited about the potential of bringing in some elements from the expanded universe. In my very first video, I talked about being a bitter expanded universe fan. There are plots and storylines that you will never be able to pry out of my hands. And so anytime that you have Star Wars kind of pulling from the lexicon of the expanded universe and pulling those into these larger series and movies, you're going to have my interest. Anytime that you can recanonize parts of the expanded universe, you're going to have my full support. And I truly have faith in Jon Favreau that he is going to pull off something incredible with this series. And if I get more of the expanded universe being pulled into Star Wars through The Mandalorian, I may actually move it up to being my very favorite Star Wars film or television series, just because I will always have a fondness for the expanded universe, and any opportunity to see that on screen is just a dream come true. Because as a child, I had so many dreams about seeing the expanded universe as a TV series or as a film. I think a lot of us growing up always envisioned more live action TV series. So to see some of that stuff, Dark Troopers, appear on screen is kind of surreal. So I'm excited to see where the rest of the season goes. I might, after the series ends, do a longer episode and talk about some stuff if my theories turn out to be true. But all that being said, thank you once again for watching Let's Talk About Star Wars with Maggie Lovett. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. And also, I still cannot wrap my head around the fact that there is so many of you on this channel and so many of you watching my videos. It means so much to me. 20 years in the making, and it's just surreal to see all of you here listening to me and interacting with me. So thank you for that. It's truly been a highlight in quarantine and a really weird 2020. So thank you for that. And I hope that you have a great rest of your week, regardless of when you're watching this, if you're watching it today or later in the week. And hopefully we see another really big Star Wars character next Friday. As always, may the Force be with you. Welcome back to a new episode of Let's Talk About Star Wars with Maggie Lovett. Today's episode is going to be a little bit less structured than previous episodes because somebody is stealing Cobb Vanth again.